we'll get started. Thanks everybody for jumping on, taking the time to talk to Ryan Reaves today. As a reminder, participants are asked to use the raise hand function throughout the interactive Zoom if they wish to ask any questions. After using the raise hand function, participants must wait for the host to call their name in order to ask their question. Participants will not have their microphone open until they've received full acknowledgement. Following the availability, a full recording will be available to media outlets. Again, reach out to myself or Garrett Calloway if you would like to have the recording. Thanks, and Ryan, thanks again for taking the time, a few minutes here today. We'll start it off with Willie Ramirez from the Associated Press. Willie, your microphone's open.
Hey Ryan, how's it going? Thanks for doing this today.
Absolutely. How you doing?
Ryan, when you said this often that first week that you got here, you knew that the locals sort of like, oh boy, what have we gotten ourselves into with Ryan Reaves? Then you got your first extension with the team, and you sort of felt that you had become part of the Golden Knights franchise and what. Now with this one, do you feel that Ryan Reaves is bigger beyond the Golden Knights when it comes to this community with everything that's gone on from day one that you arrived to now? The Stanley Cup run and everything that's taken place now. Do you feel that you're above and beyond the franchise and a bigger part of this community?
I mean, I'm not bigger than the franchise. I'm not bigger than the Golden Knights. You know, I'm just a part of it. But you know, I'm a guy that has tried to ingrain myself in this community because I fell in love with it, and I've realized that you know, past my career, I have a very, very good chance of wanting to live here. You know, I built a house here because I just fell in love with it. You know, I started a business here. You know, I love the people here. They're unbelievable fans. But by no means am I bigger than it. I just find that, you know, some guys get out in the community in different ways. I just think that, you know, my love for this community has made me maybe at the forefront of that, but not by any means bigger.
Next question will come from Ben Goetz of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Ben, you're good to go.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks so much for taking some time to talk to us today.
No problem.
I mean, you mentioned, you know, the business interests you have here, the idea that you might want to live here after you retire. So how much was a priority for you when the Golden Knights approached you to stay here with this latest extension?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a secret that I love it here and I wanted to stay. You know, for sure, I've heard people say that, you know, you probably could have got me cheaper because I have, you know, the business and everything. But, you know, at the end of the day, hockey comes first for me. And the hockey business decision had to be before, you know, the beer business, the whatever stuff else I do in the community. You know, the hockey had to come first, but it had to make sense for me and my family. You know, I'm getting older now. I'm not going to say this is my last contract, because I think I got a couple more years after that. But it definitely had to make sense. And when they approached me, for sure, this is the number one place I wanted to be. I don't want to leave. I didn't want to leave. So I was happy that the conversations were starting, and I'm happy we got something done that worked for both sides.
Next question will come from Justin Emerson of the Las Vegas Sun. Justin, you're good to go.
Hey Ryan, how you doing?
How you doing? Good, yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to ask, have you been skating at the rink as part of the phase 2?
I have, yeah.
Okay, so I just was kind of hoping you could maybe walk us through kind of the process of how the testing's been going, or do you feel safe at the rink? Just kind of the procedures that are being put in place to make sure that you guys are safe and protected and all that.
Yeah, to be honest, I feel a little too safe. It's kind of weird. Like, you know, our training staff has done an unbelievable job making sure that everything's sanitary, and, you know, we're not too close to each other. We're changing in different dressing rooms. We're getting tested twice a week. You know, you got to wear the mask when you're walking in. Only 6 people on the ice, like you guys know that. But for me, it is a little weird. Like, you know, you go from, you know, coming to the rink and seeing 25 guys, and, you know, you're getting into the hot tub with them, and, you know, you're in the training room playing little games and just messing around, to, you know, you only see the same 6 guys every time. And it's very, you know, you can just sense that there's a lot of rules and a lot of tension around what's going on. I wouldn't say there's tension in the dressing room, but just the situation. There's a little tension with the situation. I feel safe. I feel overly safe, to be honest. But that's just what the rules that NHL put in place.
Next question will come from Kevin Bollinger of Fox 5 Las Vegas. Kevin, you're good to go.
Hey, Ryan. I know phase 2 is great and training camp will be great, but with such a long layoff, how much are you looking forward to hitting somebody on the ice when the games resume?
Man, you know, it's funny. I do those cameos. I don't know if you've seen any of them, but I do these cameos for people, and I've caught myself recently saying I'm getting the itch to put my fist through somebody's face or lay somebody out through the boards. I don't know what it is, but yeah, no, I'm anxious to get back on the ice. I think everybody on this team is. We know we have a good team, and we know we have a shot at winning the Stanley Cup. And I know a lot of teams are going to say that, but we really believe that we got the pieces. We were proving it down the stretch. You know, our team's going to be healthy, just like every other team. But I think our team healthy is more dangerous than anybody else. So I'm anxious. I want to get going, but at the same time, you know, you want to get going under safe circumstances, which it looks like we're working towards.
Next question will come from Brian Salmond of NBC3 in Las Vegas.
What's going on, Revo, man? First, the face looks better than it did for the announcement on Twitter. I like the shave look. Looks good.
Yeah, you know what? When I did that, I was watching the video. I was like, man, that's just not my look. I got a little sloppy. That's all right.
My question is kind of a two-parter. One, did you hear or see the comments that Kevin Weeks made a while back on ESPN's radio or ESPN's podcast when he talked about his life in hockey and just basically kind of going through some issues of being a black hockey player? And if you have had any instances in your life that you could share, one, and then two, the fact that the numbers are low in hockey as far as like black players, like there's not a ton of them, obviously, you know that. Why do you think that is? The guy that came up playing hockey, why do you think that the numbers are so low?
Okay, so for your first question, you know, I've experienced a little bit. You know, when I was younger, I've had the N-bomb thrown at me 1, 2, 3 times. You know, I think there was one in junior it happened. But when I was younger, I always had the stance of, you know, if you're going to call me that, you got to live with yourself. Like, that's your problem, not mine. But when you're younger, you don't realize that that's such a big issue around the world. It's not just that one little isolated incident. And so, you know, looking back on it now, it probably was a bigger deal than I made it. What was your second question? Why not a lot of black people in the sport? I mean, it's a pretty simple answer. You know, hockey is the most expensive sport to play, and you know, if you go into a lot of these black communities, first of all, there aren't hockey rinks there. Nobody builds hockey rinks in black communities. They put up basketball nets, they put up football fields. And it's easier to get to. You know, you buy basketball, you go to the basketball court outside, and you're practicing right there. You go get a football, you run on the field, and get a couple of buddies. But for hockey, you know, you got to have a rink in your community. You got to pay, you know, a couple $1,000s a year because kids grow quick. You know, they're outgrowing that equipment, and so it's tough. It's tough on parents, not just in black communities. It's tough on any community or any parent that's trying to put their kids through school. So. You know, to get more black people involved in the sport, you got to bring the sport to them. You know, we got to build rinks in their communities. We got to donate some equipment. You got to bring these black athletes to those communities because, you know, it's fine if you know, if you're a white guy and a white athlete, white hockey player, and you can walk into these black communities and you go play ball hockey with a bunch of black kids. That's fine, but those kids want to see people that look more like them. They want to see me walk in there and wearing Jordans and be like, hey, you wear Jordans, I wear Jordans. Hey, you dress like that, I dress like that. Oh, you got earrings in your ears? Well, I don't, you know, people told me I shouldn't wear earrings, but you know what I mean? They want to see people that look like them. That kind of brings them a little bit close to the sport. And those are the things that, you know, the NHL, that individual franchise, individual teams need to do to bring different cultures into the sport.
Next question will come from Kevin E. Martin of CBS 8 here in Las Vegas. Kevin, you might have to unmute yourself.
There we go. Sorry. Hey, Ryan. I was curious, with the extended time away from the ice, and once play does resume, people are saying we're going to see some play similar to some preseason hockey. But yesterday, Kelly McCrimmon said he believes it's going to be the complete opposite. A lot of it is due to the health of the players. Everyone's going to be healthy, but he compared it to, the World Cup of 2016, players being in their best, health. I was curious to see what your thoughts are, especially in the round and robin play. What kind of hockey we will see once it resumes.
Well, I'll tell you, this is definitely not going to be like exhibition games. To Krim's point, you're not going to have, a bunch of young guys trying to make a team playing in a game with, throwing a young draft pick on a line with, Stone and Pacioretty. You're not going to have that. You're going to have a full squad. But besides that, you're jumping right into the playoffs. So, yeah, our team's playing round robin because we were one of the top 4 teams. Those other teams are fighting for their playoff lives. So there's no time to act like, this is an exhibition game, this is a tune-up, because it's not. Our round robin is important because we're fighting for seeds, fighting for the higher seed. So I expect the very first game, very first puck drop, it's going to be like a playoff atmosphere, because you only get one shot at, especially those other teams, they only get one shot at even making the playoffs. And to be honest, you're sitting at home for creeping up on 4.5 months, training, trying to stay ready for this. You want to waste that 4 months for, 3 games or 5 games? No, you're gonna battle your ass off to try and make the playoffs for those teams. And we want to be the highest seed team so we can play the lowest seed coming into the first round. So I expect it to be absolute wars out there.
Next question will come from Jason Pathier of Sinbin.Vegas.
Hey, Ryan, how you doing? Congrats on the new deal.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So you said that obviously the Golden Knights were your number one choice, but also that it was a decision that you have to make for your family as well. Was there ever consideration to test the free agency like you did last time around?
It's tough to say. It's not like I was in the middle of the season saying, I'm not, whatever they offer me, or if they approach me, I'm going to test free agency, because, for me, last time free agency went really well. It can go sideways just as easily. You can go test free agency and all of a sudden they find somebody else, or, all of a sudden they make a big signing. They don't have money for you anymore. So it can go both ways. And I was fortunate enough that it worked out in my favor last time, but I knew I wanted to be here. So, once the conversation was started, as long as, the terms and the money was right for both sides, going to free agency really didn't do anything for me.
We have time for a few more questions here. Next question will come from Jesse Granger of The Athletic.
Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
Not too bad, yeah?
Good. You'll be the first to admit that you're not out there to score goals, but your offensive production has basically been double in Vegas what it was in St. Louis and Pittsburgh prior to that. What do you think's been the biggest difference? Is it system? Is it something you're doing? Obviously, those numbers have gone up. What do you think's been the biggest difference?
It's a combination of a lot of things. It's, the way my training has changed a little bit as it was, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It changed then, and it's changed over the last couple of years. But I've also been thrown in a system that allows me to play my game. In Pittsburgh, there were some nights I was playing 4 minutes a night, and I wouldn't, I'd get a shift, and then I wouldn't get another shift for, 10 minutes plus an intermission plus another 10 minutes. So I'm sitting there for, 20, 30 minutes with TV timeouts. You can't play like that. So, if you're going to play in a system that doesn't allow you to play your game, you're not going to thrive. When I came here, my minutes almost doubled right away, even though my production in Pittsburgh wasn't that high. But, they obviously saw something and liked the game that I brought, that they allowed me to play and be myself. And I think this is the first time that, the pressure of, listen, if you don't go do what you want to do, you're that bubble guy. I'm not saying that if I don't do what I need to do right now that I couldn't be out of the lineup, because anybody can. But I think just the little bit of weight off my shoulder, that it's not every single day that, man, I'm gonna get one shift, and then I'm gonna sit for 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna go mess up that next shift, and they're gonna be pissed at me. I don't have it anymore. I'm allowed to get into a rhythm, and when I get into my rhythm, I play my game. My legs are in it. I can play physical, and when I'm constantly on the ice playing physical, it creates room for my line mates. Will Carey creates room for us too, and I think that's why I've been thriving here.
Couple more questions. We'll go to Ron Futrell, and then we'll of Channel 8 Las Vegas, and we'll end with Ben Goetz of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Ron, you're open.
Hi there, Ryan. Thanks for taking the time, and congrats on the contract. Brian Salmon actually asked my question already, so I appreciate your answer on that, and Brian for asking it. I'll just ask you, what you've been doing the last 3 months? Have you been here in Vegas? Have most of the teammates been here in Vegas? And what you been up to for the last 3 months?
Yeah, I stayed put. The weather's great here. I got a pool here. I don't have any of that in Winnipeg. It was, 2 months ago, I'm pretty sure my mom called me and said they had a snow warning and they were, 0 degrees or something. So I had no time to go back for that. Doing a lot of swimming. It's been nice because I've never had this much time with my kids just to sit and actually hang out with them. You have summers, but, in summers you take that time to be able to travel a little bit. And you're still training and all that. But like right now I'm training out of my garage. So, my boy comes in the garage, he works out with me, picks up the 5-pound weights and thinks he's, getting big muscles like daddy. We hop in the pool. I've been playing remote control cars. Just a lot of family time, to be honest with you.
And thanks again to everybody who joined today. Our final question today will come from Ben Goetz of the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Me again, Ryan. That kind of leads perfectly into my question, which, they're talking about the hub cities and whether or not families will be allowed to come with you guys. So as a guy with a family and kids, I guess, how do you feel about that kind of debate?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's, the situation is going to be tough either way. Whatever the hub city is, I know there's been a lot of ideas thrown out, but, one's been families travel with you and maybe they'll get an Airbnb or whatever together. And, or the other one I heard was you're not allowed to see anybody but the team. You're going to be quarantined in a hotel. So, it'll be tough. It's going to be tougher on the kids because, my boy he's 4 years old and he just loves spending time with dad and playing with me. And to go from me being home every single day for 4 months to potentially being gone for 2 months, it's going to be hard for him. It's going to be hard for my girl who, is one that doesn't necessarily know what's going on, but she's just going to all of a sudden, daddy's just not going to be here for a while. So it'll be hard if I won't be able to see everybody. It'll be tough on my wife. She's going to have 2 kids by herself for 2 months potentially, which is not easy for anybody. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of families are gonna have to fly somebody down, or I'm sure some families are gonna fly back home so they can have some help. But whatever it is, it is what it is. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, and there's people a lot worse off than we are. It'll suck being away from the family if that's what it comes to, but it's just the reality of it, and that's just what you're gonna have to do to chase the cup.
Thanks again, Ryan, for taking the time. And just as a reminder for anybody, any of the local media members who would like a recording of this Zoom conference, please reach out to myself or Garrett Calloway, and we will send that to you. Thanks again to all the media members who jumped on today, and we will look forward to talking to everybody soon.
Thanks, guys.